As between the fintech companies, the Squares, the PayPals, the others, and the big, the sort of main banks, and then the mid-sized banks, where would you be putting money now?
Yeah, I like the fintechs, PayPal in particular, also Square. The key there is that in addition to benefiting from this shift into digital banking, they also have part of their business model that benefits very directly from e-commerce, which we're seeing as we come out of the pandemic, continued growth, elevated growth in commerce that's done online, which is a lot of what's driving the next leg of growth for the players like a PayPal and a Square, because either from their merchants or from the consumer side, they're being very digital first. They benefit a lot when consumers are doing sort of digital anything, digital banking, digital commerce. And we're seeing coming out of the pandemic, there was a concern that that might moderate. And in fact, we're seeing the opposite, that it's continuing to grow at a very elevated pace.
So both merchants are moving the payment systems through these companies, particularly for online, but also the consumers are using PayPal and Square to pay their bills, right, Lisa?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. We're seeing this really interesting convergence where these players, in addition to that traditional sort of shopping side of their business, now have these digital banks where consumers are using their PayPal or their Square account as a surrogate, a complement, or alternative to their traditional checking account. They can have a debit card, they can do P2P payments, they can pay their bills, as you said. So we're seeing sort of movement of that activity away from traditional banks, particularly the smaller banks that maybe lack the mobile app or lack a strong website, and into these fintechs.
So, Charlie, does it have to be a zero-sum game? In other words, the gains made by the fintech companies necessarily come at the expense, both in terms of stock price and performance, of the bigger banks. I don't see Chase sitting still or TD Bank sitting still and letting these other players eat their lunch. And in fact, I think they're actually pretty good at what they do.
Yeah, no, this is going to be an expanding business. There's going to be an opportunity cost that is a zero-sum game. But this is a growing business that I think everybody in it can grow. And I should acknowledge that I have lots of horses in this race. I'm chairman of the board of ACIW and ACI World, and we supply the software that runs a lot of transfers. So I'm going to be very careful because I got a lot of customers involved here. But this is a business that's growing for everybody. Frankly, the digital in e-commerce is good business for Chase. It's good business for fintech. Everybody can grow. But the key point here, Tyler, is that the big banks are already making good money at this. A lot of the fintechs, this is all aspirational. They have a business plan where they're going to show profits, but so far aren't really making much money.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.